Joining us, our CNN political contributors, Roland Martin and Will Cain. Will is also a columnist for theblaze.com. I wrote a piece today, let me start with you, Will, on our CNN.com/Situation Room website, in which I said that Herman Cain's legacy might be 999, now dead. Can we simply forget about 999 right now?
No, I agree with much of what you had to say. Substantively, Herman Cain's legacy will be, however flawed it was, 999, because it showed a real appetite in the American public for radical tax reform, centered around the concept of simplifying the tax code. But there's another legacy, Wolf, that I really hope doesn't take hold. You'll have pundits, you'll have political strategists and politicians come on TV and say the problems with Herman Cain were characteristics of an inexperienced politician. That if he had held prior office and been vetted as something like mayor of Atlanta, well, we would have known these problems. Well, of course these people are going to say this because they themselves are lifelong politicos. Herman Cain's problems were that he didn't know his stuff. And my hope is that other businessmen out there, other people who've worked in the private sector and been successful, look at Herman Cain, see the potential for success, but just have their own knowledge, their own ducks in a row, know what they're talking about.
You and I know, Roland, there have been plenty of guys who have run for the Democratic presidential nomination, just think 4 years ago, 8 years ago, with limited qualifications as well. They didn't get very far, but sometimes they just throw their hat in the ring for a variety of reasons.
Well, first of all, I need to remind Will of a couple of things. That Herman Cain had a very short-lived run for the presidency in 2000. Herman Cain also ran for the United States Senate. So it's not like this is some guy who was a businessman all of these years who decided to run for president. We know Steve Forbes, he ran for president before, and he put out a radical tax plan that fired up a small element of the Republican Party. But the reality is, when you look at the whole notion of being a conservative, you have fiscal conservatives, national security conservatives, you have social conservatives, you have Gary Bauer, okay? He appealed to social conservatives. He couldn't do anything when it comes to the rest of the GOP. And so, fine, Herman Cain, he's out of the race. His endorsement, frankly, will be irrelevant, just like Donald Trump's will be irrelevant. And so, at the end of the day, he was a terrible candidate who did not even know a thing about foreign policy, and so the Republicans are probably happy he's not in the race.
I don't know why you think, Roland, Herman Cain's endorsement is going to be irrelevant. He generated a lot of excitement within a certain branch of that Republican conservative movement.
Right. So tell me right now, if you're sitting here running for president, and if you're sitting here, so let's say if Santorum drops out, who's running around right now looking for Tim Pawlenty's endorsement? Okay, Mitt Romney has it. Great. At the end of the day, you can have the most wonderful endorsements in the world, but can you convince the voters, the people who actually vote, not the folks in these polls, not people in D.C., not the people who are sitting here covering the campaigns, can you convince the voters? And the poll that we just showed a few minutes ago, where 32% of the people in Iowa are less likely to vote for a candidate if they get Trump's endorsement versus those who say, I will vote for him. That's why I'm saying it's the candidate, not who endorses him.
Will, what do you think about Donald Trump's becoming a moderator and moderating a Republican presidential debate at the end of the month in Iowa?
I think very little of it. I think that the party whose ideas are centered around those of Edmund Burke and Frederick Hayek and Milton Friedman and Barry Goldwater and Ronald Reagan should not be affiliated with the likes of Donald Trump. I think it's pretty clear. I can't think of a single serious person who could possibly disagree with that.
Let me say this here, Wolf.
Hold on a second. Newt Gingrich has already said he'll be there. He'll be participating in the debate.
Good for Newt Gingrich.
This will be a two-person debate. Wolf, let me say right now, I predict this debate will not even take place. He is a carnival barker. At the end of the day, Donald Trump has absolutely no credibility hosting any of the debate. Look at all of the coverage. It hasn't been about the candidates. It's been about him. And that's what this is all about. He has a new book coming out. At the end of the day, Wolf, we have to own up to it as well. And that is those of us in the media. We have fed this monster. We have fed this beast. We fed his ego. And we sit here and pretend that Donald Trump is a credible person when it comes to politics. And he is not. It will be a joke for any Republican to show up. And so I think at the end of the day, I doubt Romney shows up, Perry shows up, so Huntsman's not coming, Paul's not coming, so who's left? A couple of people? That's not a debate.
All right, I don't think Roland's going to be invited to Donald Trump's country
and trust me, I will not
anytime soon.
I will not seek an invite to anything that where he's at.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. A lot more politics coming up.